So I'm about to do something today that I've not seen a single other marketing agency or any of these sort of marketing gurus. I've not seen a single person do what I'm about to do today. And what I'm going to do is sit in front of the camera and I'm going to pull up our profit and loss account and I'm going to break down these numbers for you so you can see exactly how much money my marketing agency is making. Now, I run a marketing and a web agency based in the UK. I started the business 3 years ago. I basically quit my 9-to-5 job training to be an accountant to start this business. And I'll be honest with you, when I first started, I had never worked in marketing. I had never worked in sales. I was completely brand new to this. And what I'm going to do today is break down basically my accounts for last year. So these are my official accounts that have been filed with Companies House, which is sort of in the UK like the government. And I'm going to show you sort of last year. And then I'm also going to show you this year and sort of last month. And I'm going to talk about, you're going to be able to see how it's progressed over the past sort of 2 years. And I'm going to show you exactly how much money we're making, our sales, our profit. I'm going to talk about all these figures and I'm going to break all this down for you. And this is exactly the sort of video I wish I had been able to watch when I was first starting out. And I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I don't think I've seen anyone be as transparent in terms of actually showing the exact numbers. And you're going to see, there's a lot of people online that talk about trying to make 10K a month and all of that stuff. But you're going to see when I actually start talking over the numbers, it's slightly different. In the reality of it, your business needs to be earning quite a bit more money than you think to actually be able to take home £10,000 a month. So I'm sat in front of the computer, I've got all the numbers here, and I'm going to run through and basically just sort of talk you through all the numbers. So we're going to start off with last year's sets of accounts. So this is from January 2024 to January 2025. So we're going to go on in the video and talk about sort of this month and sort of last month, but let's just talk about last year to start with, and then you'll see how the business has progressed. And last year I'll be honest with you, we were still finding our feet really. And to be honest with you, we're doing a bit of everything. We hadn't niched down. We were working with mainly trade businesses in the UK, and we're still finding our feet. We're doing a lot of web design and we're doing a lot of paid ads. So you're going to see that in a minute, but this is our profit and loss account here. So you can see last year we did £171,729,000. Obviously I'm based in the UK, so this is all pounds in sales, which is probably about, I'm just looking at here, is probably about $232,000. Now, out of that, we made a profit. Our final profit before tax was $90,643. So that's our profit before tax. Now, that's probably in dollars about $122,000. And then in terms of just one thing I wanted to mention before we sort of move on is, if you look at this, our director's remuneration, so this is what we actually take out of the business as a salary, was £20,960. So really, to get the actual profit figure, you need to add together this 9643 and then obviously what we taken out of the business. So basically our total profit, like our real profit for last year, was £111,603. So yeah, we made about £110,000 last year in the business, like in terms of actual profit. And to make that £110,000, we had to do £171,000 in sales. So to be fair with you, like you'll see in a minute, the business has grown quite considerably. Basically, we're 6 months into the year this year, and we've already done more than we did in the whole of last year. So you'll see the business has grown quite considerably. But to be fair with you, considering 3 years ago I was earning £20,000 and I was working a job I absolutely hated, the business hasn't done too bad. And I'm going to break down these numbers. I'm going to break down these costs in a second. But the first thing I wanted to break down for you is this turnover. So this sales, how did we make that £171,000 in sales? Where did that come from? Now, this is basically a full breakdown of these sales. So you can see there's that £171,000, and this is where we've made the money. So the two main ways we made this money is through Facebook and Google Ads. So that's paid ads. So you can see we made about £70,000 in paid ad sales. And then secondly, website sales. Last year, we were pushing websites quite heavily, and we did about £71,000 in website sales. And then also we made a fair bit in website hosting. So obviously on the back of them websites, we made 14 grand in website hosting. We also made bits of money from sort of social media management, SEO, other revenues like bits of design and bits of other like things that we've done, bits of sales commission. Other little deals that we've done here and there. We made, you can see we probably made another 15 grand from all these little things here, just to talk about. But definitely the two main things that we did last year were paid ads and website sales. And to be honest, we did this for mainly trade-based businesses. So we worked with a lot of landscapers, garden room companies, solar companies. Basically, we did a bit of everything. We weren't niched down. And you're going to see in a minute when I talk about like this year, we've really niched down around solar, and you're going to see the results from niching down and changing our approach. And I'm going to talk you through it in a second. So just to move back in terms of, so obviously that's £171,000 and where we made that from. But actually, what were the costs of a marketing agency? So as you can see here, we paid ourselves a basic salary last year of like £21,000. Like honestly, last year I barely took any money out of the business. Like since I started this business 3 years ago, for the first 6 months of running the business, I think I paid myself literally nothing. And then I started to pay myself maybe like £1,000 a month. And then basically last year I started to pay myself like £2,000 a month. And then really, like I'm going to show you in a second, but it's only this year, 3 years into running the agency, that now I pay myself anywhere from sort of £5,000 to £10,000 a month. So like now I'm earning pretty good money, but this is the company earning this money. And then obviously I have to take money out of the company. So it's, when all these people online talk about making 10K a month and how if you make 10K a month, your life is sorted, the reality of running a proper business, which is what I'm trying to do, run a proper business, it's very, very different to that. So you can see, just to sort of explain so obviously the costs. So you can see here, we had a fair few costs within that period. So we obviously had, employment costs, we had software costs, we had, subcontracting costs. So this is where we subcontract some of the work. So we used we had a few like freelance web designers last year. We also had some freelance videographers and sort of editors last year. So you can see we spent £26,000 in freelancers last year. So this year we've sort of changed that and we've tried to bring everything in-house. But last year we were still very much finding our feet. So just to break down some of the significant costs of running this sort of business. So obviously you can see first thing, subcontract cost, £26,000. So as I say, that's freelancers, that's editors, that's web designers, that's all of this sort of stuff. Now, another big significant cost is like computer software. So you can see sort of these two figures here is like £9,000 in basically software. So this is like Go High Level subscriptions. This is perspective funnels. This is website servers. Like this is all them other little costs that you don't see when running a business. You can see also advertising. Now, one of the main ways that we generate customers is through Facebook ads. We run a lot of adverts for ourselves. So you can see we spent nearly £12,000 last year. So about £1,000 a month we spent in marketing our own business. So it's not bad, to be honest. If you're spending £12,000 in marketing and you're generating £171,000 in sales, it's not terrible. It's quite good. We're spending £12,000 and we're getting £171,000 back in sales. So definitely not bad. Some other costs, so you can see sort of accountancy costs here. You can see, I'm just looking at some other, you can see commission. So commission here, £4,000. So basically throughout the year, we've worked with certain sort of salespeople and basically we pay them a commission if they bring us deals. Now, it's very different. Last year, we had a few freelance salespeople that worked for us sort of a bit sporadically throughout the year. But this year, we've got a full-time sort of salesperson where we're paying them, really significant commission, but they are bringing in a lot of deals. So we've got Stuart on board now who's really helped us grow the agency this year. So that's one of the big moves that we've made this year, which has massively sort of, because I can't be doing sales all the time, because although I love to do sales, I'm at clients, I'm doing meetings, I'm busy quite a lot. So it's been one of the biggest game changers this year is having a sort of salesperson helping with the business. So just another few things, you can see Stripe fees, bank charges, depreciation on some equipment, but all of that is pretty insignificant. The main figures really, as you can see, are sort of subcontractors, employment costs, software, advertising. They're our biggest costs, to be honest. We don't have an office. We run the business remotely. So, we don't have any huge significant costs. So just to sort of summarize last year, you can see that we did, as you can see, around about sort of $150,000 in profit. in British pounds, that's obviously this £90,000 here, and then obviously this £21,000 in directors' remunerations. So yeah, that's basically a breakdown of last year. Now, I wanted to break down this month. So obviously we're only 6 months into this year. So obviously that set of accounts finished in January 2025. And then obviously from January, the big change that we've made this year is we've niched into solar. So we've really focused on paid ads, and we've really changed rather than last year where we worked with everyone, what we've done this year is niche down within solar, and we've really upped our prices, and we've really made sure the service that we're actually delivering is as good as possible now. And we're getting some pretty crazy results within solar. We're mainly doing Facebook ads for solar businesses, and we still do a bit of websites here and there, but definitely paid ads, Facebook ads for solar businesses is our biggest sort of market. And we do a lot of value-led content. We do a lot of videos. We do a lot of that stuff, which I've sort of talked about on other videos. But as you can see, last year we did £171,000 in sales, whereas just last month, in the month of July 2025, we did £46,500. So you can see basically how quickly the business has grown. So last year we did £171,000 for the whole year, and then just last month we did £46,000, which is, I've just done the maths here, is $62,000 in 1 month in sales. So this, you can see how quickly the agency's grown, and we've really taken it to the next level now. So £46,000 in sales, where did that come from? So you can see that the majority of this money came from paid ads. So you can see here, £23,000 in paid ads, and most of that is Facebook ads for solar companies. You can see we still did some websites, so you can see we did £8,000 of websites. This flat rate adjustment, just to explain what this is, so it's slightly complex, but if you're based in the UK, we're on basically a flat rate scheme for VAT. And that means basically we get to keep a little bit of the VAT that we charge. So we made £7,000 from being on this scheme. So it basically just means that we get to charge 20% VAT, but then we get to keep 10% of it. I'm not going to go into the VAT rules, but that's essentially what that money is. You can see we made £1,000 from website hosting. We made a little bit of money from SEO, which we do. And then this other revenue and training and design is little things like video shoots and like bits of training sessions and like bits of sales commission. So we recently sold a pretty big website, and then we passed that to another agency and we got some sales commission on that. So that's just to explain them numbers there. But as you can see, the business has grown significantly. You know, we've already done more in sales than we did all of last year in the first 6 months of the year. So we're running a pretty decent sized business now, you know, and out of this, you're probably thinking, how much profit did you actually make? You know, what was the profit? And I don't want to go into too much in terms of this year, because obviously we've not finished the year yet. So I don't want to give away too much, but I'll tell you that there was at least sort of £33,000 of that was profit. Obviously without tax, so we're still going to have to pay tax. So because we're based in the UK, we're still going to have to pay corporation tax. But you know, last month was our biggest month ever. You know, this is our biggest month ever, £46,000 in sales, which, as I say, is about $62,000. And out of that, we probably made about £33,000 in profit without tax, which is probably about $44,000. So you can see how significant the business has grown. And just to explain why the business has grown so much, it's purely just down to, we basically niched down on solar. We found a service that is performing really well. We made the service as good as it possibly can be. And then what we did is we just increased our prices, and then we just with that, we've got that many case studies within that one industry. It's really made us an expert within that. So I guess I hope this video has provided some value, because I've not seen a single person be as transparent with you in terms of numbers. And you're probably thinking, if you've watched to this point, you know, why is this guy why is he revealing all this information? And just to explain, like, obviously you can see I make pretty good money with the agency. You know, as I said to you, I pay myself, you know, obviously this is how much the business makes, but I pay myself personally anywhere from sort of £5,000 to £10,000 a month. So I make pretty good money. I can have quite a nice lifestyle just off the agency. But I really want to get into making content. I really want to start doing a little bit of sort of training, a little bit of coaching. And, if I can make, a little bit more money from doing this YouTube, I don't want to be one of these gurus. I don't want to be one of these people that sell courses and do all that. But I already do a little bit of consulting. I already speak to a few people who are trying to set an agency up, and I do help them. And, the way I see it, if I can make, 80% of my money from the agency, but then I can make 20%, I can make another couple of £1,000 a month from YouTube, from, coaching, from helping people, jumping on calls, I'm going to do that. It's good fun, and I really enjoy helping people, and it's something slightly different from what I used to do. So yeah, I hope this video is providing some value. I hope, you found it quite transparent, and I'm going to keep trying to make videos documenting the agency, and I'm going to try and be as transparent with you as possible, and hopefully we'll get this number to, as I say, if we're on 46 now, hopefully we can get this to like 70, 80, maybe even £100,000 a month in sales, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video.